We're here in one of the basement shops along Malaya Sadovaya, and this is showing how the shops are below ground level along the street. And it was in one of these spaces that Alexander Mikhailov, who is the mastermind of Narodnaya Volya, located a piece of real estate that he found very attractive, which was a below street level basement shop. It was actually a shop that was connected to a residence, and as of January 1, 1881, it was officially rented by a couple named the Kabozevs. Well, the Kabozevs, of course, were not really the Kabozevs, although there were real Kabozevs whose passports the new tenants showed. But, in fact, they were one of the fictitious Narodnaya Volya couples named Bogdanovich for the man and Yakimova for the wife. And together they established a cheese shop in one of these basement spaces along Malaya Sadovaya. The real purpose of the cheese shop was to serve as a front for the latest assassination attempt against Alexander. From the below level walls of the cheese shop, they would dig a tunnel beneath Malaya Sadovaya. The tunnel would then be used to explode a bomb underneath the Tsar's carriage as it drove through the Malaya Sadovaya onto one of his Sunday outings to the Mikhailovsky Manege. Well, the tunnel was quite an exercise. Not only did they need to move a lot of earth, but as they were taking the tunnel across the street area, they hit a large wooden box, which turned out to be a sewer. The entire store was filled with an unbearable stench from the sewer gas. However, Narodnaya Volya persevered. They covered the wooden box with a cloth. They kept going onto the other side of it until they got out to the middle of the street. They started digging the tunnel in January of 1881, and by mid-February the tunnel was complete. On February 15th, 1881, Tsar Alexander actually came along the Malaya Sadovaya after his outing to the Mikhailovsky Manege. However, the explosive charge was not yet planted underneath the street. There was nothing Narodnaya Volya could do. Some of the leaders of Narodnaya Volya were rather frustrated with the technician, as they called Nikolai Kobalchich. Kobalchich was responsible for making the dynamite to plant in the mine. On February 28th, 1881, the police had just arrested Andrei Zhelyubov the night before. They had heard rumors of some kind of a project going on in the Malaya Sadovaya. They sent an inspector to look at the cheese shop. The inspector actually came into the cheese shop and looked through the entire place. The inspector came in and even felt the boards, but since they were fast, he did not suspect that it was a hole. He was convinced by the story that the leaking barrels that he saw really had aged cheese that was shedding its moisture. In reality, the barrels were filled with earth taken from the tunnel underneath the street. After a few minutes, the tension was broken when a cat came into the shop and started rubbing against the inspector's legs. Some jokes were made about the cat's sex life. It seems to have put the inspector at ease. He actually gave the place a clean bill of health, hadn't found anything. That happened on Saturday, February 28th. It was that night that they put the charge into the mine underneath the Malaya Sadovaya to blow up the emperor the next day.